When you are on the go, you need your credit union to be right there with you. Hughes Federal Credit Union makes your life easier. For 65 years, Hughes has called Southern Arizona home and has given back to our community. Isn't that who you want as your financial partner?
Welcome to Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. I'm Star Sports Editor Ryan Finley here with Greg Hansen. GH, you were at the U of A Super Regional softball loss to Baylor on Sunday, and it unfortunately sort of bookended what has been a forgettable year for Arizona sports. We were talking off camera. I mean, this year has been sort of marked by 3 disappointing losses.
Ridge Rod didn't go for a 2-point conversion in the last minute, losing to Pac-12 champ Washington. Sean Miller didn't get the ball to Lori Markin in the last 11 minutes of the Sweet 16. And Mike Candrea changed pitchers in the 7th inning of the Super Regional Finals. Danielle O'Toole out. They lost that one. 0 for 3.
0 for 3. To me, that loss has so much in common with the basketball loss. If we're comparing sport to sport, look, Rich Rod's football team was bad, and Washington was good. Who's to say what would have happened had he gone for it? He could have missed. Washington still could have scored. But the basketball and the softball comparisons are very interesting to me. Both sort of your 15 versus 2 kind of a matchup. On paper, should not have been close. And yet you look at some strategic moves that sort of felt right in the moment, came back to blow up in people's faces. In the case of Arizona basketball, it was basically letting Alonzo Trier try to shoot his team back into that game, even though it meant leaving Markkanen out in the cold. In softball, it was sort of a too quick hook on Danielle O'Toole, who had been very good. And
those were the 2 high points of the U of A sports season, from August to the end of May, because everything else of the U of A is kind of submerged right now.
Dave Hickey, once he sort of unpacked his suitcase and looked around, did he go, wait a minute, swim team bad, track team bad, tennis team bad, golf team bad. I mean, football team struggling. You know, baseball and softball, kind of, they are who you thought they were. But men's basketball, they are who you thought they were. But, I mean, it's hard to look around and find a real diamond in the rough. In McHale, everybody seems to be struggling.
We've got 19 varsity sports, and 14 of them are not real good. And, of course, it was 20 years ago that Arizona had a top 10 program all around. Dave Hickey was at Oregon then. Arizona was better than Oregon in everything except track.
But isn't that always what separated? I mean, I know the things that I liked about Arizona as when I was a student, when I was looking at colleges, was unlike a lot of schools, Arizona genuinely seemed to try and care at all of these other sports. And if you were a U of A fan, you'd go to a softball game, but you'd also track Annika Sorenstam on the weekends, and you could claim different golfers and tennis players. And that to me just doesn't really exist anymore.
I wonder, you know, it's not never too late, but it's really late. How does Arizona rebuild a swim program that was legitimately one of the top 4 in the country, and now it's not even on the map?
Well, I think you could start by talking to any of Frank Bush's many successful sons. I mean, right? I mean, look at Virginia.
Augie Bush, his son, who was here when Arizona swept the 2008 national championships, made Virginia into a power in like 2 years. I don't think he could do it here in 2 years, even if Augie Bush came back. Maybe he's got a better thing going in Virginia, but it's the same thing with Arizona's men's golf program. They were in the top 10 for 30 years, and now they're last in the league 5 years in a row.
And I know it's not as simple as I'm going to make it sound, but you can't recruit 5 golfers to, like, the center of the world when it comes to golf. I mean, I know you're going up against SC, UCLA, ASU even. I get it. But to me, golf's the one that could be the quickest fix. I mean, you're a good recruiting class or 2 away from being right back up there.
Oregon won the national championship in men's golf last year. They're playing for the national championship today. It rains in Oregon. I'm not exaggerating. I lived there for 7 consecutive months. They have the best golf team in the country, and Arizona is one of the worst.
They have Casey Martin, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Casey Martin, good coach. To me, the swim thing is, and really, to me, the story of the summer, and you people are going to call me a nerd, the story of the summer is who Dave Hickey hires as the next swimming coach here. Because we will find out right away what Dave Hickey values, what sort of his MO is? I mean, Greg Burns' MO was to hire young, hardworking, inexpensive coaches.
Yeah.
Is that what Dave Hickey's going to do, or is he going to try to dial into Arizona's history with the sport? Is he going to go get a big fish and pay a little bit more money?
Yeah.
Where do you think he's leaning here?
Have no clue. Yeah, you know, if swimming goes the way it's going now, why don't you just do away with both programs, or at least the men's program? Same thing with men's track and field.
Right.
Just do away with them.
Right.
You don't need them.
Right.
You can save the money and put them somewhere else. Men's tennis, same thing.
But Arizona's history in at least swimming is at least as rich as its history in any sport not named basketball or baseball, probably. I mean, Arizona's put out a lot of good male swimmers.
I went to 5 Olympic swimming trials in a row over a 20-year period, and my list of U of A swimmers at the Olympic trials was like this long.
Right.
And you know, last year was like this long.
Right.
And it's sad to see it.
It is sad to see. I would hope, especially since it's his first hire, Dave Hickey would look around and go, there are a handful of very good coaches who would walk here for this job.
There are.
And maybe it means you got to pay $240,000 instead of $200,000 or whatever it is. But hopefully money is not the only thing keeping Arizona from being good again in swimming, because that's a good problem to have. If all it takes is money, that's okay.
Yeah, you're right. That in the summer, that would be a big one.
It will be a big one. That'll do it for this episode of Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. For Greg Hansen, all right, pop quiz. Will Arizona's next head coach have the last name of Bush?
I hope so, because I know Huggy Bush, and he's a first-class human being.
What about Frank Bush? No?
Maybe he would come back and help.
There we go.
He's moving back to Tucson.
There we go. I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you next time.